This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going down beneath the earth to try to bring up some different types of gems. Once we have those gems, we're going to be impressing nobles with them and trying to get the most points and win. Today we're talking about Splendor. This is a game that came out in 2014, and it was a Spiel des Jahres nominee, which essentially is German Game of the Year in the family level. 2 to 4 players, plays in about 20-ish minutes, 20 to 30 tops. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Splendor, you're trying to score 15 points by buying development cards that are worth points and using gems to do so. Let's talk about how our turn works. The turns move really fast in this game. You can basically do one of 3 things on your turn. The majority of the time you're going to be grabbing gems. When you're grabbing gems, you have 2 options. You can either pull just one color and take 2 gems. But you can only take 2 gems of that color if you leave 2 gems in the pile. So I could take these 2 green gems and that would be my turn. On the next turn of mine, if I want to take 2 whites, I couldn't do that because there's only 3 of them there, and if I took 2, it would only leave 1, and you have to be able to leave 2. So instead of just taking 2 of one type of gem, you could take 1 gem of 3 different kinds. So I could take, let's say, a blue, a red, and a white, and that would be my turn. Those are how you get gems. Another thing you could do on your turn, and again, you only get to do one thing on your turn, is buy one of these development cards, and you'll do that paying gems. Now you'll see that these cards have 3 levels. We have level 1, level 2, and level 3, and they get harder to get as you move up. Now, if I want to get one of these really hard ones, let's say, this one I would need 7 gems to be able to buy it, but it's worth 4 points and it gives me a future black gem. Now down on the easier ones, let's say I wanted to buy this one. I need 2 white, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black. I have 2 white, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black. I would buy this card, I'd place it in front of me, and I'd put the gems back into the supply. Now because this is the one I just bought, it's in my area in front of me, and now this is always going to be worth 1 gem. So let's say later on over the course of a couple of turns, I get some more gems here. And so right now I actually have 1 blue, 1 black. I actually have 2 red gems now because this is always a red gem. And after someone buys a card, it simply gets flipped because it's the next player's turn, and so on and so forth. Now the third possible thing you could do on your turn is reserve a card. Let's say I've been working on red gems, but so is somebody else. I'm afraid they're going to pull this big 4-point card before me. For my turn, I can take this card, put it in my hand as reserve. A new one will come out to replenish it, and I take one of these gold gems, which are wild. So my playmat has some gems. I have some gems that I built before. This is my wild, and this card would go in my hand. I can keep this secret. I can only hold 3 of these in my hand at once. Let's say this is what it looks like in front of me right now, later on during the game, and this was the card that I reserved earlier. This would be in my hand, but I'm putting it down here to show you that I needed 7 red gems to get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the wild is 7, so all we have to do is pay these gems back to the supply, and I could play this card in front of me for a turn, and that gives me 4 points. Now let's say on a subsequent turn, later on in the game, I have this in front of me. These are all the cards I've built. And I want to get this one. This one, it says I need 3 red gems. I already have at least 3 here. I don't even need any physical gems because I already have them in cards. Literally, I can just take this card for free on my turn, and that would be my turn. Now, at the end of your turn, you always look to see your cards versus the nobles. And at the end of your turn, if you have a certain amount of cards that these nobles want, you get to keep these, and it's 3 points. In this case, here I have, you need 3 black card gems, 3 red, and 3 green. And I have that, so at the end of my turn, I could have taken this. And I would just put it there, and that's points at the end. Now, see that these are cards. These gems have nothing to do with these cards. It's how many cards you have. I have at least 3 of those 3 colors, and so I would get this for free at the end of my turn. This would continue until somebody has gotten 15 points from the points on their cards and any nobles they would have gotten. So let's say on a subsequent turn, I build this, which is 3 points, which also will get me this noble, which allows me to get more than 15. I have more than 15, and then essentially everybody else that hasn't gone this turn gets a final turn. So everyone has the equal amount of turns. Whoever has the most points over 15 is the winner. If it's tied, whoever has the least amount of these development cards is the winner. Now, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but the number of gems that get put out and the number of those noble cards changes depending on the amount of players. Now, Splendor is one of the highest sellers over the last couple of years, and it continues, even at the end of 2015 here, to sell a ridiculous amount of copies, and there's a reason for that. Now, the game itself, this isn't something that I typically would like. In fact, a couple years ago, before the game came out, I was offered a review copy from Asmodee, and I looked at it and I said, oh, yeah, the art looks cool, but it looks kind of themeless. It looks very mechanical. Do this, turn this into that for points. It's not something I typically like. I turned it down. Oh, I wish I had not, because after I finally played this game, I absolutely loved it. There's just something about this game. It just gets its hooks into you early, often, and they don't go away. Again, it's themeless, pretty much. I mean, it's just a pasted on theme. The artwork is really cool, but I mean, essentially, you're just grabbing certain colors to then turn those colors into cards and using those colors as engines to buy better cards later, and then hopefully those noble cards and try to win. I mean, it's just get this to get that. And it just doesn't sound like it's something that's gonna be that interesting, but man, it's hard to put your finger on exactly what it is. This game has tension the entire time. I mean, you're grabbing things, you're looking what the opponents are going for, you're trying to make sure that, ooh, should I really reserve that card? Do I wanna use my whole turn just to get one wild and reserve that? Or you're like, no, I'll wait till later, someone else reserves it or gets it, and you're like, oh man, a lot of tension, a lot of back and forth. I love how it plays equally awesome with 2, 3, or 4 players. It scales well with a different amount of gems. It's pretty cutthroat at times, although it can also be played, you know, my wife will not play very competitive games where there's a lot of cutthroat. You could play this game either way. You could like reserve a card and not purposely block somebody and a little bit easier, but some cutthroat players will play this very cutthroat as well, so it can kind of be played either way. I love this game. I can't tell you, it's quick, it's easy, it's super simple to teach. I mean, most of the time you're doing 2 turns, grab gems or turn the gems in for cards. Very easy. I've brought in a lot of people into the new hobby of board gaming with this game because it's easy, but yet it's got good depth. I always talk about my depth to complexity ratio, meaning how good is the depth of the game versus how many rules are there. This is skyrocketing high. It's super simple, but there's a good amount of depth as to what to do. Great decisions to make. It's all about timing. It's stressful. It's tense. It's amazing. If you have not played Splendor, check this one out. And I love this thing so much, and I've kept it in my collection this long. I'm finally getting around to do a review of it. So, to induct it into my gaming library, let's give it a saxophone serenade.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.